Twice. Stop me. Get there in advance. And we're worth it.
Hey!
Back in the day.
I don't even know.
Oh,
Have you used that chat line before, Wes, or something? Yeah, is your name L'Oreal? Because you're worth it.
No, that belongs on Love Island.
Yeah.
Kurt's getting roasted even here.
Yeah, no, I've also got your name. You called Gillette because you're the best a man can get.
Okay, it can't get any worse than that, can it?
Awful.
On them notes, we'll start.
Yeah, definitely on them notes we'll start, that's for sure. Okay, I think we're all set up. I think quite happy with the setup. Pretty good. Got lots of exciting things to talk through today. This is back. This is officially episode 2. I don't know what this was.
Decided to wear some clothes this time, AJ.
Yeah.
Some merch, yeah. I have. I'm probably blocking it with the mic.
Do you remember we spoke about a forfeit?
Yeah,
I do remember that one.
I've got it, but I'll save it
But you
for
never
later.
followed it
Okay.
up.
Oh, no, I'm following it through today, don't you worry.
It's still on order, is it?
No, I've got it with me.
Hey, there's a funny thing actually, randomly. This is quite funny. You know, like Amazon Prime, like you can get it next day delivery. Because I went to Paris, I don't know why it pops up with more stuff on my feed now to French people and French things like the farmers and stuff.
How it goes.
Anyway, Amazon Prime isn't a thing in Paris.
Seriously?
Okay, it makes sense.
Really?
With
I
the
did not
Brazilian
know that.
people, they have their version of it.
Right, okay.
It comes within like 1 week rather than 2 weeks. That's their version of Amazon Prime.
Right, okay.
How random.
But it is Amazon Prime, though.
Yeah, but it's like because their logistics is not so good.
The French version.
The French
I'm with
version.
you. Yeah,
Don't
yeah,
want to
yeah.
insult anybody, but
So you're basically
there's a
saying...
report done in Amazon as well on it.
So are you saying it comes quicker or
It
slower?
comes quicker.
I was going to say,
But
I'd expect it to.
not next day delivery.
Because
There is
you
no
know,
next day delivery. That's
right,
out of the
okay,
question.
It's just not happening.
Not happening. But
Right,
it comes
okay.
quicker. So like you get it in a week
Yeah.
rather than 2 weeks.
Yeah.
Interesting.
Wow, that's interesting. Particularly with the French, because, you know, if they don't get the way,
Don't get the way they
burn cars in the street.
Have you seen it? They turn their motorway into a field because the farmers are all kicking off.
really?
It's about to happen here, I think. Now,
Yeah,
The
I
British
kind of
farmers.
admire it. The fact that, you know, if something isn't right, they fight for it.
And they really
do.
do genuinely fight for
Yeah, they
it.
do.
And it
Yeah, I really
actually-
admire it. Yeah,
they're
yeah.
passionate about what they
The cars
they
in the
love and
street
what
thing
they
is,
do. Yeah,
they do.
Well,
Yeah,
Clarkson's
fight for
Farm
it.
season 3 is coming out in the next couple of weeks, and he's kind of put that thing out of kind of statements sat there being like, I don't know how the food can arrive at the supermarket and somehow be cheaper when it's in the supermarket
I
than it
saw
was
this.
when it left my farm. I was like, I understand what you're saying, and I agree with you,
Yeah,
and I think
yeah.
it's going to be very interesting because the French are doing all their kind of like protesting right now
Yeah, yeah.
and blocked off the whole of the ring road of Paris, but I feel like the Brits are now supposed to have started like these couple of days whenever this goes out, and I think that's going to be like
Right,
not
okay.
good.
Yeah, that's not something I'd seen, so that's
It's not
interesting.
not so good, but
No.
because mainstream media hides it all, so you're
Yeah.
not going to see it on BBC, ITV, Sky, maybe Sky. They're sometimes a bit more. They go for it a little
Yeah,
bit more.
yeah.
But
yeah. More
TikTok,
freedom. Yeah.
that's showing it like non-stop, which is quite interesting to see that. A bit scary, because it just means everything's just going to cost more money
Yeah, of course it is.
again. Great.
Interesting to say TikTok. Got a bit on that.
Yeah, well, yeah. So today we've got a lot to talk about. A bit of Gen Z, surprise, and global elections. We need to talk about that because that is like, wow, crazy. 1.5 billion people are going to be possibly voting,
I
hopefully
think a lot
voting.
more than that. I think it's 49% of the population they're looking that's going to be voting.
Well, maybe they can vote. Depends.
If they do
turn
vote,
up and
yeah.
vote. I think my statistic is more like my statistic is like they're actually going to vote. We need to talk about obviously Super Bowl. I know that was like last week, but still like ads and revenue and just mind blowing statistics, like actually scary. And then I know you want to talk about some other things, Wes, which I'll let you talk about that kind of growth and markets and
That's
kind
okay.
of earnings and all that, which is quite exciting. Just this whole month's going to be exciting, I think, with that kind of follow up. So yeah, let's get started. Money Talks, let's make it happen. Welcome to Money Talks. All opinions expressed by Wes Wilkes, AJ and Curtis Pritchard, and any guests are solely their own opinions and do not reflect the opinions of IronMarket Wealth or FINT. This podcast is for entertainment purposes only and should not be relied upon for any investment decisions. This is not financial advice.
Episode 2, here we go.
I know, I'm quite excited. I've been looking forward to this. After episode 1, I was happy with the setup. We kind of got the video good. We got the audio better.
Didn't know what to expect, did we? Would it actually work?
Absolutely no, it's great
for us.
And
thoroughly
great
enjoyed it.
feedback. And I feel like we should have more people in the comments if you want to hear more about this, or if you've got questions,
Yeah, that'd be
please
great.
fire away, because we could have a little kind of comment section at the end, or
that'd be great.
like answer.
Ask the
Q&A.
expert.
Q&A, yeah, it's always
nice
good
little
as long
Q&A.
as it's constructive.
Yeah, absolutely.
We can film them.
We can take it on, definitely.
We went from a 40-minute podcast to now 3 hours.
That's down to AJ.
Yeah, that's down to the edit. We try not to edit because then it means it's more hassle for me.
Yeah, we
Okay.
don't want that. Good.
Wes, I want to start with something that you wrote down in our very busy WhatsApp group that we set up now. It just kind of becomes topical / things that we see and kind of points of interest over the couple of weeks. But you said Gen Z, well surprised, and then you put a full stop, and I was like, cool.
Yeah, not telling you anymore.
I was like,
What does he mean?
let's go with the flow of that. What is this?
So I get quite a few notifications and spend a bit of time on X during the evening most of the time because the US are open.
Yeah. Now it all makes sense. I'm always like, why is he so active in the evening? Now
US,
the US.
absolutely, they're very active.
It's
on there.
taken me that long
And
to
there is-
realise.
We know you have to take a lot of that stuff with a pinch of salt, but this really grabbed me, particularly because obviously why we built FINT and kind of the reasons for it and the demographic we're looking to launch this with. But it's from Jeremy Horpdahl. I've definitely pronounced that incorrectly, but hey ho. On his
That's on you, Wes, that one.
Yeah, it's definitely on me on his X feed. But it's generational wealth per capita, and what it's really it's got kind of 3 generations. So baby boomers, which is kind of where the world kind of accepts most of the wealth is right now.
Yeah.
Gen X, which I kind of slip into, I think. Millennials and Gen Z combined. And this is an amazing stat. So at those 3 kind of cohorts, at the age of 30, currently, millennials and Gen Z are ahead of Gen X and baby boomers in terms of their inflation-adjusted wealth.
Okay, so the amount of money that they've got at the age of 30, each generation kind of are lapping on top of each other.
Correct.
What do you think that is then?
Why? It's fascinating. I didn't think that was the case. Being really honest.
What did you personally think?
I thought I assumed baby boomers. I just assumed that they carry the wealth. They're
better at saving.
Yeah, and that age group and that generation have been good savers historically. So I just assumed they would have more.
Is that because they save better because they've had less? So they've saved better throughout their life, so they've got more in the end. Whereas the younger generation maybe have the opportunity to make more money quicker, so they can get to a higher net worth, say, younger, towards 30, but then are actually like, okay, I haven't saved my money. I've now got a car lease, a good-sized mortgage, or I'm renting somewhere in a very nice area that I can't really afford for the rest of my life if I stop working tomorrow.
Yeah.
So you're sort of saying people are wanting to be better with their money and actually try and invest or try and do things, but they just don't have the education.
I think the opportunity for businesses and more job opportunities are there that earn more money.
Correct. Yeah, I think that's it. I think
personally,
access is a huge loads better.
I'm not saying that they save.
No,
I'm saying
wealthier.
that they're wealthier.
Yeah,
I'm saying that doesn't mean in 20 years' time they're not going to be the same situation. I would love to see that graph being like, okay, this is at 30.
Absolutely.
40, 50. Because I bet you when it gets to 60, it's going to be like you'd have 2 different perspectives.
There was that TV program, I can't remember the name of it, but they followed a generation from the 70s. I think it was my generation. They were born in the 70s. They did video, interviewed them age 5, 15, 20, 30, 40 or something like that. It'd be fascinating to see how this kind of pans out and whether they manage to stay ahead of the boomers or fall behind the boomers. Obviously, hopefully we can make a difference with them.
But I think the boomers are in a situation where like you kind of see that report being like, okay, I bought a house at this age and it was at this price and now the value of it's at this price. So yes, your net worth may be much higher because physical assets improved a lot more. Like your house has now gone 10x.
Absolutely, yeah.
But that's not money that you can use, is it? It's like it's there locked up.
Correct. And there is also the habits of that generation and that demographic. They're so good at saving and building wealth that actually that's the habit they have. They don't have the spending habit as much. So therefore their wealth kind of sticks around.
Yeah, they don't go for dinner every single night. They'll go once a month to somewhere nice. Or well, in the UK it's more that way, whereas in America it'd be more like probably once every other day sort of thing.
Probably smart with money too. I think that's the thing. Yeah. But on the back of that, this is kind of the challenge you have with this generation. Obviously, again, something we know with what we're building with FINT. And this was I don't know where this was on X, but I didn't see the source. And it's a screen print from an article. One of the fastest growing types of content on TikTok has been financial advice. I'll put that in the video.
Saw that,
Did you see this? Yeah. So much of it aimed at and created by young users seeking to tap into the Gen Z obsession with financial independence, retire early, fire. Horrible. And obviously we know, we spoke about this in the genesis of FINT in terms of the energy and the amazing things, but from stocks, blah, blah, blah. Report by Wall Street Zen, a stock market analysis tool, I missed out the swear word, examining the validity of financial advice on TikTok, found that 95% of the content carries no disclaimers about investment risk.
I would say it's even higher than that, to be honest, from what I've seen.
I've never seen one with a disclaimer.
No, unless it's from an established kind of
actual
firm.
account.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
And it doesn't fall into this, because if you've got a professional person like filmed on like a £30,000 filming day, walking out the shop from M&S with a bag, it's like, that doesn't relate to me. So swipe, gone.
Quite. Well, this is the scariest bit. Nearly a quarter of it of the videos imply guaranteed returns on investments, which cannot be guaranteed. That's scary, isn't it?
And that is so true. Looking through all social media platforms now, and that is what the younger generation, I think, is falling into the trap of not having the actual knowledge and just thinking, we can get rich quick. Everyone can do it.
This guy has.
These guys are saying it's possible. It's 100% possible. If I invest my money with these, I'm going to be rich. And it isn't the case. No,
it's frightening. And you see, they'll purport something, push something out there, and then they'll do the next video on holiday because they don't have to work. And it's...
and the person that's putting these videos out sometimes is making money because they'll say, come follow us or do these things, and then they're just getting paid.
And they're selling things on the back of it.
Yeah.
Well, most of them sort of scenarios are, join the affiliate program or pay for the course of the... Yeah. There's always something behind it. It's like, how are you actually making money? Have you gone and got a job? Are you investing within the market, or are you making your money off me hopefully buying your product? And that's one thing that I always think is, even like not even the financial market, the mentality of, I disagree with this slightly, like, I need to retire and set everybody up. Yes, set everybody up, but no, I don't ever want to retire. I quite enjoy working.
Yeah.
And if you're putting your heart and soul into something, like, I think one thing from our point of view is seeing with influencers are like, the Kardashians, you've kind of got Skims or you got Kylie's Cosmetics.
Absolutely.
They've put their heart and soul into it. You may like them, you may not like them, but you can't disagree that the product that they produce, it's authentic to who they are and what they do, and that's like their passion is there.
Absolutely.
And I think that's really important. Whereas a lot of these people we see online, it's like the creating the content, the passion's not there, the longevity's not there. It's something like it's a short-term thing. Like we came to that first stat, they may have got money up to the age of 30, but then what do they do after that?
They're trying to achieve following.
Yeah,
absolutely. By saying something
or make a statement, isn't it?
Absolutely, yeah, correct, yeah. So that's the obviously the sense of the problem that obviously we're trying to solve. But again, that the stat of Gen Z and millennials being ahead already blew me away. But coupled with the world that they are now in,
we're Gen Z. Are we Gen Z? Are we Gen Z? When's Gen Z start? When's it finish? I'm 96.
I think just at the end of it.
Just at the end of it.
Not that you fall out of it.
Yeah. I'm fine falling out of it.
I think you're definitely Gen Z.
Yeah.
Just.
I think so. Yeah.
In that roughly age, It's so confusing.
What time did you get your first phone? What age did you get your first phone? There we go. That'll probably tick the box.
2007, I think it was, to be fair. We were talking about it last week episode, the iPhone. I got my dad's first iPhone.
I know it was a solid Nokia sort of thing. Yeah. So I wasn't an iPhone.
Yeah. You weren't an adult and working. So you're Gen Z. As far as I'm concerned.
Exactly, Wes, exactly.
That's very cool.
No, it's crazy on the side of like having so much more disposable income, and even like you see it with LVMH and like that money that's driving into that market is like you go to a shop and you realize, well, how much maybe big ticket items are being sold. Well, not as many as you realize, but how many belts, how many wallets, how many like the items that you can just about afford if you've got not a lot of money, but actually Why are you buying it
I think
for
you make
no
a good
reason?
point, actually. And thinking about it, of that younger adult generation now, if you think globally, obviously growing middle classes in like China in particular and emerging markets in general, you've got an expanding population, but a growing, wealthier middle class population. Therefore, that wealth will trickle down.
What are your thoughts, Wes, on things like Klarna? Things like this for the younger generations, like the fact that they can now buy more expensive things on a monthly basis. What are your thoughts on it? Dangerous, scary, good for the environment, good for the kids?
I think I think it creates the wrong kind of habits. Again, if you're comparing boomers, the boomer generation, and again,
They save up and then buy it outright.
If
I own it, it's
afford
mine.
it. If I can't afford it, I'll save up and I'll buy it when I can afford it.
I'm in that mentality.
Yeah. And I think
try and stay away from it.
Let's face it, it's the best mentality to have. The other side of that, things like Klarna, when you can do things over 3 months, doesn't cost you anything to do it, and it's something that would make a difference. Like, for example, if you've got a new job and you need to travel there, you need to get there, but you can buy something that helps you get there, or a piece of equipment, then maybe it's a good thing.
But not for £100 t-shirt.
Exactly.
Like you're buying your. But it's even like you can get it on items now, like 20, 30 quid.
Oh, anything.
I think it's everything pretty much.
Yeah.
But I find it interesting because the company Klarna in this case, they buy the debt, don't they?
Yes, that's
and
right.
And then the company that's had the t-shirt or the pen or whatever they get paid in full,
straight away.
and then they take the debt. So it's like you're just building up that. It's a hell of a business model.
It is a hell of a business
Berkshire
model.
Hathaway, like credit card, is
factoring
the kind of
premiums.
underlying, not that's shouted about, that's where they make all their real money.
Well, I mean, Berkshire Hathaway originally, it's insurance premiums.
Yeah.
And that's why they have to invest it. That's why they will always have that trickle of insurance premiums. It's a similar thing. But the Klarna thing, it works. It's a business model. They take their fee, pay the vendor. Vendor gets their money. They've sold their product. They're happy, and then it's between Klarna and the individual, the consumer,
deal with it.
to make sure they pay. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, I think one thing we should talk about this on the streets, to be honest, Curtis, like asking people what do they think good debt is and bad debt, because how many people do you think actually know what the percentage of? I'm going to say a wrong number. I know now, but credit card, what is the repayment? What, 23% or something?
In terms of what you need to pay.
But if you're going to mess it up and miss a payment.
It's extortionate.
It's like 23% or something. Or
that.
I've never used it.
I actually think that's a cracking question that we should ask people on the streets that we haven't done.
But it can be a heart palpitation thinking about it right now.
It's a really good question.
Because we were always told, save up and buy. And I remember when I wanted something for my bedroom as a kid, it would be save up and buy my TV. Yes. Save up and buy the sofa.
Work for it.
Things like that. And I actually do wonder how the generation now really does think. Let's get on the streets and ask that next time.
I think there's a changeover because I feel like now, your generation, Wes.
Oh, hello. Thrown under the bus here.
And my generation, I feel like my generation as well, I hate a direct debit. With the passion, I hate direct debits. I'm like, if there's another one coming to my account, no, I refuse to.
On that. Yeah.
The new generation, say you just turned 18 now, it's like, okay, of course it's direct debit. They're being taught that I pay for Spotify, Netflix, my car, a mortgage or rent. They feel like they're never going to get a house. The rents, the phone bill, everything is just a direct debit. So moving forward, their mentality is, of course I'll put it on a direct debit.
One stage further. What about your iTunes and Apple subscriptions? How quickly do those things pile up? Mm-hmm. In-app purchases.
Yeah.
That app that you want.
Your video games.
Most important thing in that
extra
day.
storage.
Yeah, extra storage.
Well, your one, okay, you're playing video games, Call of Duty or whatever the hell it may be. You're paying for that package. You're paying for the thing. The kids are being educated from day dot. You pay for more stuff. You pay for more stuff. Absolutely. Before you know where you are, before you're even an adult, you could technically be in debt if you've messed it all up.
And unfortunately, you can, and that's the thing. What is happening with a few people, even I've met some people where unfortunately they've had that many direct debits that it becomes more than their paycheck on a monthly wage,
scary, isn't it?
And it is a scary situation to be in.
It's too easy, almost.
And it really is. But that's the education.
It is. It's getting people to understand. But like you say, people don't know. They don't know.
That's scary.
You're right, because I do a lot of gaming. I do a lot of racing simulator stuff now at home. And the amount of add-on packages
we've had
do this,
really,
it's phenomenal. I could be paying £10 a month for this extra thing,
Yeah.
where I
Yeah.
get some extra credits for £15 a day.
Yeah, yeah.
You can start doing things like this.
I've seen it in the certainly in the kids' games.
Fortnite and all that.
I'm
buy skins.
We're
don't you,
quite
still?
controlled with the children have our phones or whatever. But if they were playing a game and it's kind of the phone gets handed up and you look, and they want this next level. But this next level isn't kind of $9.99 a year. It's $9.99 a week or a month. Or
Yeah.
No.
Yeah.
So,
That's
it can happen.
scary, and it's like not the, as we said on episode 1. Like, I hate to talk about things that haven't happened, but there was the opportunity to go and in the next couple of weeks to go to the Bank of England, and there's an exhibition. And fundamentally, it's talking about what's money going forward, like how even within that, it was like what is it going to become cashless? Is it like, it was quite a very wide range. So we haven't seen it yet. We'll talk about it when we do go.
Yeah,
but
the one thing within a cashless nation now.
But the one thing within that was Bank of England, education, younger generation. And I was like, when the Bank of England is sending like things out to be like, can we educate people? Can we talk about it? Yeah. Can we spread the word? You're like, whoa, that's an interesting state of affairs.
It very much is. Yeah.
Like
the central bank of the UK. It's massive, absolutely huge.
It
shows the importance.
Nuts.
Yeah.
Okay,
and that's what we're on to.
The message is getting there.
The message is getting there. That's for sure. We're going to do the hard work for them. That's why I'm warming up now. I'm getting this hard work done.
Hire us, guys. We'll do it.
We'll do it though. Yeah. Hand it over.
Okay, so this year, well, we spoke about it a little bit earlier. Global elections 2024.
Yeah.
60 different elections.
Well, we don't know exactly, but there's a lot.
Yeah, there is. Yeah.
Like, we don't even know if we're technically having an election this year, or which we will.
It will.
It'll happen.
I think so. Yeah.
Mid-year or end of the year? Any thoughts?
I think it'll be end of year.
End of year.
I think they'll push it out
around
as
the
far
same
as
time
they
as
can.
America.
Try and particularly here, because obviously, as it stands at the moment, it looks like Labour's pretty clearly going to win. We don't know, but I think because it is that clear at the moment. The Conservative government will try and see if they can do anything about it between now and as late as possible. I would have thought.
So apparently they're saying the biggest election year in history. So one report that I saw was 1.5 billion people set to vote. I feel this is more set to vote, Curtis, than actual people that have the opportunity to vote. Because it's two very different things about people that people may have fought and died for the right to vote. It doesn't mean that everybody has the same passion to vote, and people allow things to happen that I'm like,
which I think is a problem in itself.
It's scary.
Yeah.
One thing that's really scary is like you can have every phone on connected to Instagram so easily, so acceptable, but why do I have to go and get a letter posted through the door and then grab it and then sign it and then post it back? You literally have the technology in your phones to deal with these social media platforms. Make them work for us. At least do something.
Absolutely. And the irony is, people are concerned about
the younger generation,
and they're also concerned about tapping of elections because of technology. But if you look at the US in 2020, and the reason Donald Trump is still probably going to go to prison at some point, maybe not, but should do, it was around election rigging because of postal votes.
Postal votes.
Postal votes was the problem.
So on that note,
that's a problem with that though. Either way, you can rig either situation. You can rig electric, you can rig paper.
Let's be clean to the planet. 1.5 billion letters and pieces of paper. Think how many trees that is. I know we're technically burning electricity and there's a data farm somewhere doing something, but still.
That's a lot of trees.
So breaking records, UK, EU, USA, and I think one of the ones that was really interesting, 7 of the world's 10 most populated, Bangladesh, India, United States, Indonesia, Pakistan, Russia, and Mexico.
Huge.
This is gonna be could be a crazy year. Like, things can happen that really we try and plan for, but an election year can. I think what's scary, we see it from our market a bit more on the US market. You could have somebody you've been in president for 4 years and they're working out something, and then suddenly a new president comes in and goes, scrap it all. We're going with a new direction. How would you deal with that, like on a market basis, where it's like, or trying to predict something?
There's a lot of theory around it. I mean, and obviously at 60 global elections, there's so much disparity between, Russia has an election this year.
Do they really?
Exactly. But then, like in more emerging economies and South American economies, you've still got a real what is happening in Europe in terms of more really left wing or really right wing kind of moves in different countries. But focus on more kind of developed markets. There are many theories about what happens in markets and in the S&P 500 in pre-election years, in election years, in post-election years, depending on who wins and who doesn't win. But broadly, you can't build and manage a portfolio based on elections. You've got to build and manage a portfolio based on a risk-based approach, and it's part of the macro picture, but it's not fundamental enough. And it does have impact and it does make change. You've got to be aware of it, but you're not building a long-term portfolio based on elections.
Okay.
And actually,
you talk about macro.
Yeah, sure.
I'm sorry to jump in, but
No,
hit me straight away.
Yeah.
At the end of the day, every single person has to eat, drink, consume electricity, and that. Is that why the macro level of investing in your aspect of the way that you kind of perceive it, a bit like you said the other day, look out the effing window, like taking a step back and being like, they're still going to be consuming this. They're still going to do this. The consumer debt is still going to be this amount. That's what you look at more than maybe what's going to be touched. Because obviously you can be like, okay, they're going to change the laws and allow all 50 odd states to do sports betting now. It doesn't really affect certain things so much. You may be like, okay, that's going to increase the debt in America, it's smaller changes.
It's consequences, implications, and what it means moving forward. So you're looking at macro signals, macro data points. So, for example, a big thing with China in particular and their reopening not really working a great deal, their economy really, really struggling. And the idea now, and this is kind of, again, a policy thing, a political thing that drives a macro view, the idea of onshoring or friendshoring, so bringing things back. So the US in particular, bringing things to manufacturing and control, bringing things back from, say, China back to the US, or friendshoring back into, say, Mexico. But that's a key driver for those markets. So then you might look at Mexico differently and think that they're going to be a really strong beneficiary of friendshoring.
Sorry, when you say friendshoring, you mean a country which is a friend of yours?
Close by.
Pretty much that.
Close by, exactly.
We can influence them a little more.
And so is that going to be a driver for the economy within Mexico? Is that going to be a driver then for the returns in Mexico? And that's how we apply kind of macro views more broadly, and that's just one example, because that's a political decision that could be led by an election that then drives through into a macro view that you actually deploy within your allocation for portfolios. So it does feed through eventually.
So name one thing that you maybe are concerned about, regarding, say, obviously there's elections all over the world, so you can maybe pick, it's very vague, this question, but in America, my example would be, are you concerned if Trump gets back in, then there's a bill that gets passed that changes the looking at everything? Like, for example, it wouldn't affect you, but I would presume, this is my opinion, if Trump would get back in, all that funding going to Ukraine would stop within the second. Things like that.
Not too much, because whilst a presidential change is a difference, it's more what happens in the decision-making rooms. So in Congress,
behind the scenes.
And because that is quite difficult to shift, it's very unlikely a policy shift can happen very, very quickly. And we probably see it signposted and see it coming if that was going to happen. Another example of that is some rules.
As you were saying, like it's priced into the market, as you spoke about last week.
Absolutely.
Like that sort of mentality.
And actually got a stat on that from BlackRock. I forgot the name of BlackRock. But actually, so we're talking about election years, non-election years. But in summary, in reality, there's not a huge deal of difference between market
So what's
returns.
this graph showing now? So for the people who are just listening.
Good point. So what it's effectively showing is in orange here is election years, and yellow is every other year. And whilst there's a lot of talk about portfolio position during election years or not election years, there's not a great deal of difference in the market returns between either of them. So there's just not a lot in it. However, if you dive into that year a little bit more in detail. So this is looking at election years, the year from January leading up to, say, this is the US, leading up to election, because that's always in November in the US. Rather
Q1, that first quarter.
So basically what it's shown is it tends to be pretty weak early and pretty flat. And we've seen that play out. Markets have been okay.
So January, February, March, the graph is kind of around...
Sideways.
It's plateaued. It's around 0.
And then it changes.
And then as of April going towards December, it kind of gradually goes up and towards the right, more towards 7-8%.
And talking to the analysts and economists that I deal with, they don't see any reason why 2024 doesn't
be any different.
Wouldn't be any different. It doesn't take that same pattern. So it's interesting because, again, people keeping themselves in jobs, they can talk a lot about election years and macro and all this kind of stuff. Having said all that, 60 globally is quite a lot. And that could affect some change.
It's not the usual scenario. No.
And I think it can apply more to those more emerging economies where where they are more passionate about making a difference and voting and angry and upset, and they might get behind a party because of one specific reason. And like I say, that can more drive towards the left side of politics and the right side of politics.
So
and that can have an impact.
Within within IronMarket and my kind of fund and you, and we always talk about this, kind of like the emerging market side. Yeah. We've always kind of had a strong emerging market side. I've always been let's go for it. Why not? It's going to go one way or the other way, but I've always loved that kind of side, seeing it. Yeah. And plus the reports that come back from you, they're always, the newsletters are fantastic. Within this, you've got 60 different elections. You thinking okay, I'm going to keep my eye on certain markets because the bigger press will get taken up by America and all this other stuff.
Yeah, of course.
Whereas actually there's probably something amazing happening in some smaller country that actually that new kind of parliament or that new power will be okay, we're open to investment, or we're closing door on foreign investment. We're going to work on ourselves, or we're not going to take, do you look at that quite a lot as a
very
random,
much so. So if when we dig down kind of the levels we go down to in terms of when we're building portfolios, when we're looking into, say, emerging markets and we're at the moment, we are quite specific in terms of where we are invested in emerging markets. And that is based on things like the macro view, things like friendshoring, re-onshoring. Yeah. Also, really, I think fiscally and perhaps monetarily as well, I think emerging markets probably handled COVID a little bit better than the West. So they were, they're already. They
didn't really lock down the same way that we did.
No, that's right.
And different mentalities, even within the UK, certain people, certain areas were okay, we lock down, we stick to the rules. Yeah. Certain areas, certain people, certain nationalities were we're not going to stick to the rules, and you could see that.
Yeah, and right now it means they're slightly ahead in terms of rate cutting cycles. So a lot of emerging markets are already cutting rates. So that's advantageous to risk assets, so bonds, stocks. So that's where we're invested because we believe in that, but we're quite specific about some of the areas, and that's subject to change, always subject to change. But that's kind of where we feel because they're slightly ahead. So it's an interesting thing, and like you say, all the news will be Biden, Trump, Biden, because we've said it already. We're guilty of it.
Well, it's the biggest
Biden, Trump,
one,
Biden,
isn't
Trump,
it?
Labour, because that's where we are. So the Western world where
and
we
I
live.
think Trump will be the one that gets it.
I think I saw a stat the other day. So first time, it might be the second time in history, but the first time in a period when people live longer than 60, that there's two candidates that are actually over the expected living age.
77 and 81, is it?
Yeah, is it something like that?
Yeah,
absolutely incredible. You can't tell me there's nobody younger that could.
Well, that's a whole nother conversation because we did a lot of research with Alzheimer's and dementia the past week, and going to UCL, which we'll talk about robotics and a lot of stuff.
Not that we're saying they have dementia or Alzheimer's, but
one of them definitely
they have it.
Yeah,
definitely signs of questionable behaviour.
It's been a very interesting tenure, hasn't it? Let's face it.
I wonder what the French president thinks. That's all I'm thinking. Does he not remember me? Okay, you're talking about the markets and stuff like that. Officially, this morning, I went on Daily Mail, went online. I was like, okay, cool, we're in a recession. I was like, I think we've kind of been in a bit of a weird
Cool, we're in a recession.
recession.
That's a strange take.
Yeah, but it was just okay. Let me rephrase that, maybe. My
Some people quivering and AJ's there. Yeah, cool. Yeah.
no, but it's like I feel like when I say cool, we're in a recession because I feel like
Yeah.
don't we all know that already?
Yeah, sure.
Or haven't we already all been quite sensible and started to cut back? Like, we don't need to be told someone. And the reason why I say, cool, we're in a recession, because I feel like now, because officially, like, was it we've gone 0.1, it's like flat. Now the BBC, ITV, Sky, it's just going to be like forced down people's throat on a negative way, not a positive way of being like, not that there's anything positive about this, but thinking like people are actually thinking about where they're putting their money.
Yeah,
I think that's a positive thing.
It's a really interesting day to talk about it because what it is, the two quarters in a row, so 2-3 month periods in a row of negative growth are classed as a recession.
Yeah.
So it's really important to use the phrase technical recession because that's a technical number. Because there is a difference, I think in 2020, COVID.
So you've got what? Sorry, so you've got a technical recession on one side, and the other side is.
Well, I'm going to explain that because I think, like, if you imagine 2020, when everything shut down, there was a 3 month period where I don't think there was a 2-3 month period. I don't think there was a technical recession during that period, but it certainly blinking felt like one because everything closed. Well, there's a difference between, I think, a technical recession and how things feel. If I'm talking we have a lot of business owners
looking out the window,
and they're talking about growth and expansion, and they've never been this busy. And there's and you look at markets, and then underneath the markets you look at the companies and fundamentals, particularly even in the UK, and how companies are doing, and they're doing quite well. So I think there is a subtle difference. And then this morning you get the retail sales numbers out, and they are gangbusters. They're expected to grow at 1.5%. They've grown at 3.4%. In January. Absolutely incredible. So I think there is, for me, I think, yes, it's a technical recession. By definition, it's a recession, right? By the measure that we all use. But I don't think it's the start of a potential spiral. I think it's the numbers playing out. We've been trying to slow things down. Plus, we're slowing things down. And I think that's kind of where we are.
You spoke about you're remortgaging now. I remortgaged just at the end of last year. You're going to be remortgaging.
1.5 million people this year.
Like, that knock-on effect still hasn't, in my opinion, been felt. Like, people, as soon as that happens, they're like, okay, that extra money that I'd have gone and done something nice, I'm paying for the same house, and I'm not moving, I'm doing the same thing.
The balance that comes to that, which is why I don't think the recession will spiral, is that we've still got a really strong labour market. People are really well employed, and we've had really strong wage growth. And as much as wage growth is slowing, there's still wage growth.
There's still growth there.
So people are in jobs. People are still having increased pay. So I think that hopefully manages, potential increase in costs in remortgaging and things like that. But also I think manages that kind of feeling of having less money.
No, it's interesting to say that. Balance, it's kind of like, I feel like it's like a delayed onset of what has maybe happened, or it's like, but it's just weird that one thing that I hate is that it becomes a press point, and it's like, the negativity side. It's a very clickbait. It's very like, what does this mean? Like, I went to the gym and they were like, we're in a recession. I was like, I've come to work out and get rid of my stress. I was like,
I don't give a crap at this point in my life.
That was my mentality.
I bet they didn't say, do you know wage growth is up 7.2% this quarter? You didn't hear that from the gym.
And then I quickly switched to go, how's the renovation going on the house? He went, awful. Went, right, cool. It's a recession. We'll do my workout now.
Can I carry on?
Can I carry on? But that's the problem. Like, normal people, it's a talking point. It's a talking point. But it's not a positive talking point.
But also, we've been talking, like you said, about this recession since the start of 2023.
Yeah, forever.
Everybody's tired of it.
100%.
So what?
But this is my argument with press and that side.
That's
Give
what
me two sides of the story.
We have been talking about it. And it's like, and what? We're going to be doing it. We're going to have to live. We're going to have to.
Again from the US, but a lady called Lila Scanlon, who's absolutely brilliant. Follow her Instagram. She's excellent. But she called it a vibe session.
Yeah.
Which is really, because it feels, we keep talking about this recession. We feel like we're in a recession because money's tighter, costs are potentially going up. So we kind of, the world put itself in a bit of a vibe session without it actually really happening. And now the technical recession means it's happened.
Yeah.
But the vibe session seems to have gone. We all feel a little
Because we spoke about it so much, we've dealt with it.
I think it's that.
And then we're over it before it's even technically
we've processed
started.
it's
And we're not
happening,
saying that some people aren't struggling. They are. But
Yeah.
the reality is that I think, with tight employment, with wage growth, they're factual objective
No, I think
measures.
in my position, I definitely feel like I'm struggling more because of the simple fact that the normal bills have gone up, the remortgage has gone up. You're like, okay, that extra money
so
that
much
I would have
less disposable income.
the disposable income's
So much less.
is being removed because mentally,
Yeah.
my head's like, well, my mortgage was this amount, but now it's kind of double. So, well, I don't have as much money to do normal things. A lot of these things are mental as well. Like, it's just normal. If you've kind of been paying one thing for the past 5 years, that's my price of my mortgage, past 5 years.
Yeah.
Now it's double. Oh, it's bad.
With 1.5 million remortgaging this year, I think it's been really interesting this time next year to see what happened. I mean, did some people pay them off, pay them down, reduce them a little bit because again, savings rates have been up.
But when I looked at even like, okay, do you want to pay 10% down? I was like, so what's the difference in my mortgage if I pay 10% down?
Yeah.
It was like 50 quid.
Yeah.
I was like, wait, it's not worth it then, is it?
Yeah,
It's actually not worth it.
No.
Anyway, mortgage talk.
Yeah.
I hate the mortgage talk. Okay, Wes. Just before we get to the Super Bowl and talking a little bit about Facebook and Nvidia and some other fun things out there and YouTube and Alphabet. But
Ferrari.
you wrote that on Ferrari. My favorite. Ferrari is Ferrari is my happy place. You wrote down. You may want to talk about this. I'm not sure. Nothing adds up. Kobayashi letter.
Yeah, sure.
Continuation of looking out of the window.
Yeah.
Definitely said that wrong.
That's all right. Kobayashi, I'm not even sure.
Kobayashi.
So again, on X.
Yeah.
But yeah, so this, I'm just going to read it. Yeah, it was just kind of, because that was an interesting point when we met last time. You were asking me around kind of, analysts and economists and data points.
Information.
And what do you do? How do you make a decision? Do you ignore it or whatever? And I was saying, sometimes they conflict. So you've got to...
Especially now my phone is listening to me like on steroids. Like I get a lot of different information now.
You've got to create your own view. And we've just been talking about TikTok and misinformation. But this...
Damn it.
Yeah. Our feeds are blasted later on, yeah.
And this is the interesting thing about kind of the period that we're in right now. So I'll read it out. But
so what is this letter to start off with?
This is a Twitter account, an X account.
Okay, yeah,
it's a good one. One of the good ones. So stocks are trading like the Fed has already cut rates. Very US based, this obviously. So that obviously we know the stock market's been going gangbusters in the last 3 months, assuming that the Federal Reserve, the central bank.
So meaning they've cut rates, therefore they feel like they can use more cheaper money to grow.
Yeah. So this is saying that stock market's trading like that's already happened,
like it's happened,
which it hasn't yet. Bonds are trading like rate cuts aren't happening, which means the bond market's still a little bit volatile. And has not really played that out yet. Gold is trading like we're on track for a soft landing. So gold's doing okay.
So
explain
a soft landing a bit more.
Yeah, so
we're not going to hit that strong recession like we spoke about.
Yeah, relating to the US, but basically meaning that that the central bank has managed to get cool inflation down to 2% without a recession.
So everybody's supposedly happy.
Fine. Yeah, that's right. Yeah.
Okay.
And in fairness, it's not far off until we had CPI this week. Oil prices are trading like rent in a recession. Yeah. Which is interesting because of your individual trade. But we'll talk about that. Housing markets are trading like nothing's happening. So it's kind of there's just so much. Yeah. It's just a perfect description of the conversation we were having last time, where there's quite a lot of conflict in information, and you've got to, and it's about really managing the environment that you have, not the one that you want. And
especially that last one, number 5, housing markets are trading like nothing is happening.
Yeah.
I find it interesting because like lots more institutional buyers of houses in America, you kind of seen it even make the press a bit more now.
Yes,
okay, we own 60,000 houses in this state and we have then 150,000 houses in another state. I'm like, rewind.
Yeah.
What?
Yeah.
That's just a full business of controlling the market for that area.
And the only real massive issue we've seen globally in property has been in China with Evergrande, the huge property developer, and the state actually letting it fail.
Have you seen
First time they've done that.
the high rises in downtown LA? Mm-hmm. So in downtown LA, they have high rises from Chinese company.
Okay.
Money never
Money never
came
got
to fruition.
Yeah.
Anyway, so it's the largest graffiti
Is it?
towers. It's actually
Has
kind
it just been left as literally?
Oh my god! And suddenly, one night, one graffiti artist did something.
Really?
Within the next 2 nights, you've got this. Like,
covered.
We're sort of talking about 60 stories here. Well, this is a lot of people graffiti. Within 3 nights, whole place, and then within 4 nights, people are hanging down the glass facade and graffitiing across
It's
the
like an
glass.
extreme sport.
Not even on the balcony. Like, I'm gonna have to get an image up for you because it's impressive. And then they had there's this great video of a police helicopter coming past and shining a light on it, and on all the balconies, people running away because
Really?
they're
'Cause they were
graffitiing
doing it.
at the time. Yeah.
But yeah, I can only imagine in China what that looks like. But and again, in China, the population is so massive and impossible to imagine.
In such a dense.
Yeah, it's
Graffiti.
incredible.
Sorry, I couldn't spell it. I had to use
I need to work on that.
Apple to help me out. So literally,
yeah,
this is it. I'll pop the image up on the screen. But as you can see, like I'm not on about like cheap. I'm on about like multi-million-pound pads.
That is insane.
And there's like three of these towers all
Yeah,
covered like
the same.
head to toe. Look at it, Kurt, like proper, like, and they've taken over the everything, and it looks like Grand Theft Auto.
Is
It
there a
looks
balcony?
like
Yeah,
it literally
yeah.
looks like.
Is there a balcony free for some branding on there?
Great shout.
Yeah.
What are you
Actually,
doing?
yeah,
What are you doing?
I should be talking to my friends in LA. I should be like, come on, and like the other buildings, like they're taking the glass, but now on some they're on the main facade of the
my
glass. It's insane,
That's
well, yeah, good luck to whoever's got to clean all that,
Yeah,
but
good
it's
luck.
it's not going to be
So
an easy one.
what will happen with that? Will that ever? Somebody's
good
just going to have to
question.
buy that
Yeah,
out. Is
it'll-
somebody?
it'll-
How are we going to get? How's that going to?
Somebody will buy that for a steal, I would have
Yeah.
thought.
Yeah, somebody will be
Ultimately.
laughing.
Yeah, ultimately. And it'll
Or one
tie
of them
it up
companies we spoke about buying all them houses will be like, you know what, we've got enough money in the
Yeah,
bank. Let's
it will be.
let's
Yeah.
reinvest
and
into
it will be
that.
ultimately. Yeah, absolutely.
Okay,
Yeah,
okay.
Yeah, it will.
Wes, what have you got there? That looks quite interesting.
Oh, this was the...
Oh, Super Bowl, Super
Oh.
Bowl talk.
You wanted
okay,
to talk about it.
Yeah, we've got to talk about the Super Bowl. So the Super Bowl was actually the most watched ever. But guess how many hours watched, Kurt, of Super Bowl?
How many hours watched? What accumulating of every single person adding up?
Yeah, all the people, whether that be TV or that. Obviously, this number is probably going to be wrong in a reality, but this is what's out there in the universe.
It's got to be like just under 1 billion hours or something. Because
30 billion hours, watch hours.
Because how many people? How many
Seriously?
people viewed? About 200.
Like,
How many people are in
Ted Lasso last year of 2023 was in the 17 billion area
Wow, that's
for the American
insane.
people that watch that
Well,
a bit more.
How many
will-
people viewed
yeah.
it? 207 million or something was it? How many people viewed Super Bowl?
Kurt's getting typing
So
now.
this will actually blow your mind then. So if that's 30 billion hours, oh crikey, not the microphone. How much do you think, you can see my screen, how much do you think was bet on the Super Bowl?
Bet.
Ooh.
Okay, I think some people are going to do massive bets. Some people. What's a low bet in America? It's probably still $50, isn't it?
Yeah, but you've got people betting like hundreds of
$5?
thousands on the Super Bowl, AJ.
No, people betting more than that. I'm going.
Think-
Some will
think
bet
of
5,
all
some will
of
bet
these
hundreds and
top celebs. They all bet big money on them. Money
Okay, I'm
Mayweather.
going to go for 100 million times 80. I've gone for definitely, I've got wrote down 8 billion, but that seems small. I'm going to go for 10 billion. 10
Okay.
billion is like a
go on, Kurt, throw a number
a solid number.
So 123.4 million views of the Super Bowl. That's how many people watched it.
Yeah, I'm sticking with 8 billion. Are you going higher or lower, Curtis? Bet on the Super Bowl. Come on.
I am going to, you're saying 8 billion. So that's 123.4 million views overall. You've got some people doing...
Oh, just give me a number. Jesus.
I'm gonna
You're not
go-
gonna do your maths
I'm
in
going to
your
go
head.
under you, to be fair. I'm going to go 7.
Right.
7 bill.
So 30 billion hours, $23 billion was bet on the Super Bowl.
Holy sugar lumps and honeycombs.
Absolutely.
What the hell?
60
and the
billion last
irony
year.
is,
Yeah.
most of them probably lost money because it all went the wrong way.
Quite.
The house always wins.
Yeah, yeah. Well, actually, the Instagram account I took this from, which was Einstein and Wall Street, it says over 23 billion was bet on the Super Bowl this year, up from 16 billion last year, and it is just as invest in stocks, not stuff. What a waste of money.
That's crazy, isn't it? Listen, 123.4 million views. But then you think of people
that's
like
a lot of
Mr. Beast on
disposable income.
YouTube. They put videos out all the time.
Yeah.
They get the same amount of views on a lot of their
That is
videos, if not
incredible.
double the views.
Yeah,
which
that's
is
incredible.
just phenomenal. And
Well, you saw the photo of him stood there. The funniest one
Kim
was
Kardashian.
Kim Kardashian. That was hilarious. But then
like a
also
fan.
with the CEO of YouTube and that country.
Okay,
like,
right, yeah.
As like the control, the power,
Insane. Yeah. Well, also, like,
Yeah.
if you think that's 23 billion that was bet on it, 30 billion hours watched.
Rewind.
Nearly
So
two-thirds?
Just say that once more. How much was bet on the Super Bowl?
23 billion.
Because last year Nevada set the new gaming revenue record at 15.5 billion in 2023, and that comes in
Wow.
on one night.
Yeah. Over what? How long's the Super Bowl? How long's the game?
Well,
90
it-
minutes?
yeah, it's
Well, yeah,
only
but you would say it's
less than that, isn't it? It's
Yeah,
an 80-minute game, I think.
Isn't the viewing 2.5 hours? The
Yeah,
viewing
Yeah,
because
overall,
it's a
yeah,
15-minute
stop-start, yeah,
interval,
of course,
15
yeah.
interval
The
interval.
stop-start sort of
Of
thing.
course, yeah. That's insane, isn't it?
My brain can't comprehend that sort of number.
That's insane. And then what's really interesting
Wow.
is that DraftKings announced their their results this year.
So DraftKings is one of the two biggest sports betting companies in America,
Correct.
across most of the states where you're legally allowed
You're allowed to, yeah,
bet.
that's right.
Yeah.
So earnings per share of 29 cents, beating expectations of 18 cents. Revenue of 1.23 billion, which slightly missed expectations of 1.24. But it sees 2024 revenue at 4.65 billion. No wonder 23 billion has been bet on the Super Bowl alone. So,
But
astonishing.
then we have to talk
So the
about
house always wins, guys.
Yeah, it really does.
the betting side of like kind of side, but the branding side of like people always ask like obviously music artist. Who was it this year? Oh my god, name.
Kanye, no?
No, Usher.
Oh, yes, sorry,
As the
artist.
artist,
I thought
obviously.
you were talking about the ad.
Sorry, yeah, we'll talk about the ad in a second. Yeah, Usher, I think they said obviously he's not paid anything for doing
Yeah,
it,
yeah.
but his Spotify streams and all that went up by 550% within the second of being like, okay, so he's probably made, I don't know what he would make off the streams and all that side of it, but plus it's pretty cool. It's
Yeah,
it's pretty cool
yeah.
to say I performed at the Super Bowl.
Oh,
And it is just for the
absolutely,
figures, like you said. It's one
But
of the
then
best
somebody
things you
who
can
can't
do.
perform at the Super Bowl, Kanye West,
Yeah.
he thought I'm gonna get an ad. I'm gonna pay, and I love for him how open he is with this. I'm gonna pay $7 million for the ad,
Yeah.
and spend all my money on an ad, and then sit in my car
record
and do a really crappy video,
Yeah.
and then post how much money that video got him, showing the sales of like shoes and t-shirts. I can't remember what was on that post. I need to find it. But then the profit, like 16 million off the,
Which
Yeah.
is
And you're like-
phenomenal. But the
In
price is...
2024,
it works.
though, that is the perfect way to market.
Yeah.
just
It's
like
crazy, isn't it?
well done.
Yeah. It's insane, but it's ridiculous.
It proofs in the pudding at the end of the day,
pudding's
isn't it?
eaten and all that.
We
Yeah,
need a
of
bit
course.
more marketing budget for FINT, apparently.
Well, yes, it's
let's
seven,
reach
on
out to
average, it's
Kanye.
7 mil for an ad at the Super Bowl.
7 mil.
Last year it was 7 mil as well. Before that, it was
Yeah.
6.5 mil. The year before that, 5.5.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's the amount of money they'll be making just off ads there.
It's insane.
Crazy, isn't
Absolutely
it?
But when it
Those-
comes down to Super Bowl itself, like Google creating YouTube TV 6 years ago, getting the broadcasting rights for sports, acquiring the Sunday NFL football for $2.5 billion a year, making sure that YouTube is the last brand sponsor before kickoff. Like we were talking about this the other week. Like value of YouTube,
Yeah, huge.
value of Google, value of the scenario is so undervalued when you talk about the number of what you've just told me on betting.
Yeah,
because if
right.
they're betting on it, then they've definitely paid to watch the game.
Exactly.
And the price per ticket, a cheap ticket to actually go to Super Bowl was like $7,000.
Yeah.
A family's paying like $40,000. Who has this? Who's paying? And I'm not even on about the high rollers. So God no, I'd be crying. I'm crying internally. I'm not paying more than £100 to go watch a game. And maybe I'm in a different world. I'm not somebody who goes and watches
It's the
things.
pinnacle of pinnacle.
Okay,
People
I'd
do
pay-
save up
Yeah,
for it,
yeah.
but yeah.
Festival of
it's-
Speed, I happily pay to go Festival of Speed, see the coolest cars, see like that's what I love.
yes.
So
your
that's
thing.
my
Yeah,
thing.
yeah.
But $7,000 for the crappy
Equally,
ticket at the back of
have
the
we
court.
got anything like that over in the UK? Like the FA Cup final hasn't got that kind of pull.
No, I don't think we do
I'm
really
not- can't
have
think of
anything
anything
like
else.
that.
You'd
has.
say a World Cup is more on an international level.
But
it still doesn't do it like the Super Bowl in a way, or they don't promote it or put it out there like that.
Is that because we don't have that amount of disposable income?
I just don't think we have that that depth of affinity with sport that they do over there.
That showmanship around it as well. That's what it is.
No wonder every single university has got like a perfectly manicured football pitch. What American football?
They get bigger crowds at college games than we get in professional sport.
On Monday night, they would have
a lot.
The college ball, and then the Sunday league, and like their big night for TV in America was like on a Tuesday night, Wednesday night, because you can't have TV on college basketball or college football because you're going to mess up. Like that's the size of it.
I think it was Thursday night, their big TV night. That used to be Thursday night. Yeah, there's some stats around it. I can't remember now, but it was. That was their big night.
Thursday's the new Friday now anyway.
There we go. Yeah, absolutely.
Okay, there's a couple more points just before we finish. Ferrari.
Right, yes.
Ferrari. So,
about this, haven't you?
When this news came out, I predicted this. I'm just going to throw it out there.
We were here.
We were here, actually.
Yeah, we were here.
And then I had to get it all up. Yeah. Lewis, what I think, this is quite interesting. This is more talk more than fact, but we've got to have a little bit of talk.
Right, throw it in.
I think what's been reported and would make sense, considering he's 7-time world champion with Mercedes, in my opinion, 8 times, and I'm going to stick to that. 8 times world champion for Mercedes, and he's still not a brand ambassador for Mercedes.
Yeah.
Okay.
But no, he wanted to be.
But he's not.
They said no.
No, we do. That's speculation. That's speculation.
Okay, very true. That is speculation.
Mercedes and Lewis are the same. In the same sentence, same word. He's going to end his career now with Lewis being
winning
like
with Ferrari.
Brand ambassador. No, well, imagine if he won with Mercedes this year and then went straight in to win with Ferrari the next year. But he's going to be a brand ambassador for Ferrari. Having his deal of 100 million a year on one thing, 400 million investment into his Project 44, a lot of his passions, the Extreme E and all of his other things that he does, which is really cool and amazing extreme sports. But we have to talk about the stock price. 31st of January, Ferrari's at $350. Overall, the stock price of Ferrari's gone up over 200% over the past 5 years. But from $350 to $390 the next day, adding 10 billion of value to Ferrari.
So I hate to be the one to bring balance, but
hit me with it, Wes.
Go on. Yeah.
They did also announce their results on the same day.
Okay. We like balance.
Which is deliberate. Let's face it.
Which is deliberate,
hasn't it? Yeah. And their results were
is Lewis happy with the $100 million crying that he lost out on a percentage of the company? But we still don't know what the opportunity is there. But the one thing for me, surely he's got an insane deal, and I would like to think he's got merchandise on there because I can't wait to buy Lewis on a red T-shirt.
That would be.
I can't wait for it.
I mean,
if you buy one,
I will buy one, and I don't buy merch.
If he hasn't got a merch deal, that has got to be the worst deal in history. And he's a deal maker, so you definitely
have to because his merch sells.
Yeah,
his Mercedes merch.
But we talked about Ferrari a year ago. I remember talking with you, Wes, and it was like Ferrari as a brand, they made profit per car 90,000. Per car profit, the highest out of any other brand, and their pre-sales regarding special edition cars, the FXX cars, the XX car with the SF90, like you have to have 5 cars before even getting onto the list of that sort of thing. You have a brand value, the family package, like they can show probably sales for the next, I'm not talking 5 years, 10 years, like they could probably show sales for the next 10 years, like.
Well, let me put some numbers around it and frame it because there's a great piece here. So I won't explain what EBIT is now. I'll do that another time.
Yes.
But compare it. So Ferrari's EBIT is 1.6 billion. So it's profits. Call that profit. A similar car manufacturer, Volvo.
The Volvo's a good one to pick.
I mean, they're similar in respect of their EBIT. So their EBIT is 1.8 billion.
And how many cars do they have to sell?
Volvo's revenue is 35.3 billion at 709,000 cars. Ferraris, to kind of match the same profit number, 6 billion in revenue, 13,000 cars. 13,000 cars.
And do you know the irony?
709,000 cars for the same.
They can still put their price of their cars up and increase that that overnight.
And
They could literally go, let's put the car up at 5 grand,
absolutely
10 grand.
hit the nail on the head, which is why it's it has been and should be and will be a good stock pricing power.
Yeah.
So
And
the
the people-
pricing power of their market they hold.
The people
Yeah,
that
they
buy
hold.
these cars as well. Yes, some people swap and change, blah, 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 blah. But the people that buy these cars don't buy one Ferrari and then go, okay, I'm going to sell it and get a new Ferrari. They go, I'll buy another
The
Ferrari.
next one, the next one,
So
the next one.
you're still servicing it because they went from their Premier Park location, northwest-ish London,
Yeah.
to a new location, Hatfield. And ironically, they've expanded and gone bigger. They're already too small. They can't keep up with the service of the cars.
Well, yeah, exactly. And you know of
We see
Ferrari
it
owners that
directly.
that buy and have hot, classics.
And we know about multiple cars that we can't even talk about
They
on
should
camera.
have just turned that
Yeah.
one place
That,
into
like,
Ferrari, AJ. They
We
shouldn't.
can't talk about. And you're like, whoa.
yeah.
Yeah.
It's an incredible. I remember going back to 2014, 2015 and sitting down with Stephen Greers, who I think still runs the fund for BlackRock, which was a European investment fund. And it was an absolute return fund, which basically has he'll be long some stocks and short some stocks to try and achieve return no matter what's happening. But we were talking about, he was giving a really detailed view on his analytical view on Ferrari, and it was all around pricing power then.
Yeah.
All around pricing power, and I only see that's grown and developed. And actually, on Ferrari,
Brand power is amazing.
it's massive. I've got a test.
Oh,
Yes, throw it at us first. Here we go. Okay,
I don't know if we
no
like
pressure.
test or no test.
So,
Okay.
I mean, you've already sold yourself down the river because you said Ferrari's your favourite subject. And obviously, we know you like motor racing. And
Oh,
He just follows Lewis Hamilton because it was Mercedes before.
well, that's fair enough. I don't
No,
like that either.
Ferrari with Leclerc.
Yeah, no.
So
Pretty
the
sick.
2024 Ferrari.
Yes.
Can you name some of the brands that are on the livery?
Ooh, Ray-Ban is one.
Good one. Very good.
I know.
Don't even
Is
know.
it? I want to say Shell.
Shell, got
Shell
it.
is another
Yeah.
one.
Jesus, Kurt, you're good at this. I just look at the red logo quite clear. I'm going to name one brand. Ferrari's on there.
It is
Oh,
on there. Yeah,
sugar.
yeah.
Well said, AJ. Yeah.
Hey,
Well
there
done.
wasn't
Well done.
Pirelli.
Pirelli's on there.
Well done, tyres.
Absolutely smashing this. I didn't think you.
I bet there's an investment group of have they got that?
There isn't actually.
There isn't actually.
No,
No,
Oh.
they don't. But they have
No.
changed the delivery slightly and put a yellow and white stripe.
I'll
on
give you a
their
clue.
car
It's
this
a watch
time.
manufacturer.
Oh, Richard Mill.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Of course. So every single one.
How many more is there?
There's quite a few, but
there is.
I'd named 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8.
Is there a
that are
bank on there?
interesting.
There's definitely a bank.
There's a bank. Yeah.
No, it'd be Santander on Ferrari.
Yes, Santander.
Oh,
Scotland.
you're
Well done.
correct. Sorry. Yeah.
'Cause it's red. Yeah. I'll put you out of your misery. AWS,
So bloody servers. Amazon's always in there.
Palantir.
What's that?
It's a software data analytic
Oh,
company.
like
Okay.
Red Bull have Oracle sort of thing.
So
Yeah.
So what I'm now going to tell you, this is why I thought it was interesting.
Yeah.
Is as we were talking about Ferrari as a company and its growth and what it works and what it's worth and what it earns.
Yeah.
Santander, $58 billion market cap. Ray-Ban, 850 million valuation. Shell, 158 billion market cap. AWS is Amazon. 1.8 trillion.
Yeah.
Pretty big. Richard Mille is valued at around 800 million.
And I think Richard Mill could even go higher than
yeah,
that.
you
to
could,
be
that's
honest.
just a valuation. Yeah,
They can do whatever price they want, to be
Absolutely.
honest.
Palantir is $55 billion market
Not
cap.
something I know anything. I don't really.
And Celsius again tech.
What's Celsius again? Why don't I know that?
Another tech software.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, was it? Oh no, sorry. Celsius is a
Because all Googling away.
is it a food and drink? I think it's sector.
it is.
Food and drink sector. Sorry.
Trucking. No, do they do
Something along those lines.
They-
But again, that's 15 billion market cap or valuation. So, like, you know how much goes into how much it costs to advertise on these cars.
I don't know with F1, but I know some people that advertise with like F2 and F3 because they're obviously the same
Yeah,
audience
yeah.
watching it. It doesn't get the same TV rights
I
now.
did see a stat. I think the top. I don't think it's Oracle. I can't remember the top firm now, but it was $90 million. $90 million.
That's what they're.
But then
oh my
if it's $90 million dollars,
Is
and
it
your
is
market
that is that a
cap
write off then?
is
How-
1.8 trillion.
Yeah, it's nothing in comparison to
But
that
you can
in
barely
reality.
see AWS.
I was just truth. I know them brands because I'm into my cars, right? So
Yeah,
I
of
know,
course.
I can
Yeah.
picture them on it.
Okay,
but
no,
for
no.
anybody
But that's the
that
point.
isn't, you would never even notice them. The speed that they go around that
Rewind.
track, you
Rewind.
never sit and see them still. Really,
Is Jeff just thinking it's an expensive ticket?
yeah, well, actually,
Is that what he's thinking?
he
You know
knows
what?
that every
Let's take
race.
it.
He's
I
there,
just
yeah.
go into the grid. I
Yeah,
paid
yeah.
90 million. That's that's the price of ticket
Well, let's
for me to watch the show.
If you take that one step back, what data center or what data service do you think they all use? All the AWS.
AWS.
Yeah, and there's obviously there'll be
There's a backdoor deal there. It's not like
yeah. If someone has Microsoft on there, then they're using Azure as opposed to AWS. So yeah, so there's all that side of it. Yeah. So there's deals being done. But I just thought it was fascinating.
But that's what we spoke about off camera
value
with,
of
with
those
some other people, like within family trusts and family businesses. Like, what is the actual deal that's being done? Is it money going back into each other's pockets, companies, because you live in that same network of people and travel, and you're in the same areas? Like you pat each other's
absolutely.
backs, don't you?
Yeah, absolutely, quite right. Yeah. Now in terms of Shell is an obvious one. Pirelli is obvious. But it kind of makes sense, doesn't it?
Okay, we should wrap this up because we've been going for nearly a good hour now. So last one, I did want to bring this up because personal question for me, I want to understand this a bit more. Facebook. So Facebook, going from a company that didn't have a dividend to having a dividend, what does that mean for the company itself? And obviously Mark then is able to put an extra 700 million back into his own pocket. So is he making the company more valuable and also lining his own pockets at the same time? But is that better for the company, the product,
or better
or
for
is
him?
that? I think my question is, it's not really better for the person because we're using the product and maybe we could have more money invested into making it better.
Their results were absolutely blew everything out of the water.
Yeah.
They were fantastic. But I think that was half the story. The other half of the story is the fact that the first time ever they paid out a dividend, or they agreed to pay a dividend.
Yeah.
And that just incidentally meant that I say incidentally, that it was up 20% that day, which is 200 billion in market cap. And that's the biggest single day market cap gain ever.
For any company.
For any company. The last time was Apple in 2022, which was 100.
Yeah, Ferrari, what are you talking about?
Yeah.
Move over.
$7 billion. What's that all about? But yeah, so the reason that other half of it was so important in terms of agreeing to pay a dividend is all the other shareholders. So as well as having that share now, because a dividend is the other part of a share that's actually people forget. It's the income that you get from a share.
Yeah.
The companies like Coca-Cola,
But not all
Costco,
companies do it.
No, not all companies do it. No, certainly not tech companies. It's very rare for tech companies to do it. So all of a sudden, as well as the value in the share price, that
But
you hold
Facebook
as
is
shareholder,
a tech company
exactly,
first, aren't they?
Yeah.
Why is it rare that tech companies do it? Why?
Because often all it's cash burn. Often
Yeah.
technology is so expensive to produce and run and keep going, as I know.
Yeah.
So
As you said that, quivering.
So that's kind of that's the biggest reason. But then for them to announce it, and also announce a 50 cent dividend as well per
50p,
share.
but that'd be
So all of that means all the other shareholders, of which there are millions, are now going to
Very
get
happy.
an income on a regular basis as well as that share price. So that's why that value of that share, because it now pays you as well as the share price increase, it was worth so much money.
And I think it'll be interesting if we saw the state of affairs when they were all in Congress. I think it was Congress. If New York, like they've kind of openly said, are going to attempt to sue Facebook regarding mental health and a lot of other factors, but I don't really know what they are because they haven't really spoke about it so much. But if that affects them, if New York try and do that, they obviously feel like they've got a justification for it moving forward. And then what that does to the stock price and the dividend, is this being done to cover that sort of like, okay, something's going to happen. Let's make everybody happy really quickly, just in case suddenly New York do try and sue us.
No, this is almost certainly a financial decision.
Yeah.
And to 100% to push that stock price up, because the company's doing great. And actually, if a company is doing great and they've got loads of profits, it should be paying a dividend.
Yeah, 100%.
Shareholders are there for that. They want to get paid.
Whew.
They've put money in to get it there.
Just not a 56
They
billion.
want to get paid
block.
back.
Yeah.
Well, there is that. Not everyone gets that. Yeah. So I think it's a great story, and it's incredible. What's most incredible, the conversation around Meta last year or 2 years ago was this guy's gone crazy. What's this metaverse?
How much money is he burning on this?
The stock's down 72%.
Yeah.
It's gone. It's dead. It's very close to being, well, it's still one of the biggest companies in the world.
People love to shoot people down.
It's
People
true.
love to like build people up and shoot them down. It's
an amazing thing about
mentality.
these entrepreneurs and these visionaries that they have this ability to find the next thing and create the next thing and create the next environment.
It's clarity and focus. They've got a very clear picture in their head. They hold all the cards, I presume, quite close to the chest and understanding it. Like even with us within FINT, like it gets to a point where you have to be quite. The word dictator is the wrong word, but there should be a word in between, like not dictator and pleasing everybody. But you have to be like quite driven and like.
Again.
I think it's the belief in your own.
But you have to have that like.
You have to have that bulletproof skin.
We're going to stick to this.
Yeah,
We've got a plan. We believe in what the focus is. We believe in what we know we want to do. We know what we're going to invest our time and money into moving forward and the education side. Like, but you have to be quite direct in that.
You do. Yeah,
and I think people like, obviously him is a stupidly high, crazy level,
Mm.
but he can see his own future because he knows what it is. Plus,
Absolutely.
you always do wonder, like, when somebody's that powerful, like Mark, like, he is in the room of every single room worldwide.
Yeah.
He knows what's happening all over the world.
Absolutely.
Plus, when you're building a bunker for 100 million, which is pocket change to him, you do think, what's he been told in that room that
What does he
we
know?
don't
What are they
know?
telling him?
Yeah, what does he know that we don't know?
Yeah.
And if he is going to control all information worldwide,
Yeah.
a bunker under a volcano kind of is a
Well, the
bit
thing
scary.
is, the reason the company did so well, it's
He doesn't have to leave.
Yeah.
He's got everything
no,
sorted
it's
in
true.
there.
It's advertising revenue and because of the data they have. And
Maybe it was an
people that use
advertising tool.
Well,
It was a £100 million advertising tool, and he gets a bunker at the end of
well, he
it.
was quite happy to come out and slag off Vision Pro. So
Yeah, we didn't even talk.
publicly,
He put a lot of time and effort into it.
it's very smart. Yeah,
But even the price, the brightness, when he spoke about the brightness.
7 times cheaper than the Vision
and I
Pro.
tell you what, we were
Quest.
talking about what the impression of Facebook or Meta 2 years ago. That video he did when he was in the metaverse was so bad.
Yeah.
I
It
think
was
that
horrifically bad.
he must have made that intentionally that bad, because it was like, you know, when you were on Wii and you had them funny faces on Wii games. It looked like that.
And this and I say he's in a moment, isn't he? I think.
And I think he brought that out as well to create and touch base with the Fortnite character simulation to not make it look
It was
so
crap,
realistic.
Kurt.
Yeah, no, but it
No,
looks cartoon,
Fortnite's
it looks
got
fake.
more
it looks,
skins and things. And
it was
what it-
awful.
okay, guys,
Full circle.
One quick last thing I do want
yeah,
to say, just throwing it in there.
So I've
'cause
done 3 quick.
we
last
did a
things.
nice little, I know we've done loads now. We did a nice little segment last week on just like future tech, and we're talking about the vision
Oh, yes.
and stuff. And I just thought, Neuralink, guys.
Yes.
Elon Musk, Neuralink. What are your thoughts on it? $3.5 billion company at the moment.
I'm never having a chip in my head.
Yeah.
Are we not into this?
This is
We're
scary.
not loving it.
This is scary.
I'm never having.
I mean,
I'm not.
We're
having
not
any-
thinking
no.
this could be the next big thing for him.
We've just said these guys are building bunkers for $100 million.
Yeah.
And you're gonna
they're
pay
putting
for a
something in
chip.
their head.
Yeah.
I'm not ready for
I
that.
personally would never get this.
I'm not ready for that.
No.
Yeah, I'm not ready for that. That's
yeah.
and again, that,
I love all. There wasn't even.
let's think about it. No.
Yeah.
This is why we have governments and regulation. But again, look,
At least if
the
you've
reality
got-
is, it's in some. This happened.
Write a comment, guys. Let us know what you think of this as well. Yeah.
very good
Oh no, will you get it done? Or will
At
you
least
not
a
get it
phone
done?
I can turn off and put in a different room.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And if you've got a pair of glasses or goggles, you take them off and put them on. What you do? Going at night, pulling it out, just charging it.
Yeah, can't.
I don't really know the information, but the thought of it is just
Scary.
no.
Yeah, I'm not.
Even
I'm
if someone said, "Oh, you can uplink and you can suddenly do this," I was like,
Well, that's what it
I
supposedly
prefer-
is. It's AI in your head.
"Okay,
Yeah.
okay,
That's what it is.
we'll let all the mistakes happen first."
It's iRobot.
And still, then I'd like the reason why I like to do stuff is because I like to learn knowledge and work hard for it. If I just I'm going to suddenly be stronger and stuff. Well, no, I prefer to go to the gym and work for it. I like working for stuff.
Yeah, it's
I like working.
that does. It's Bond villain stuff. Let's face it.
Yeah.
I've often accused him of being a Bond villain.
Hey
but-
Siri, what's yeah?
Yeah.
And this would be pretty boring if you've like.
And Elon's on his Bond villain screens looking at what Kurt's thinking.
Oh, sorry, Siri.
Wow. See, this is the problem. Case in point.
They're all working together. Actually, like Tim Cook,
Rod,
Elon. They're all together.
He said we're talking about them here.
Imagine they're all just one company secretly. That's scary.
I don't want to think about that.
Because that's controlled.
And they actually run all the governments. That's why they timed it all, so they could all do it all the same year this time, so it's much easier for them. So they can all plan their holidays afterwards. On this note, we know we've lost the plot.
Yeah, we are. We need to do your forfeit.
Yes.
My forfeit.
That means me getting up. So bear with me.
Oh, now.
Do you remember me telling you I bought some caps and one?
Yeah, one's a bull,
market,
one's a bear.
Yes,
Well, I've got another one.
It's got another cap now. Oh, don't slip.
And this is where we have to blur out the slogan on camera here.
So I just think you should close the podcast with this.
So Wes has gone and grabbed the cap now, and I'm closing the podcast.
Yes.
You should close
You
the
giant. You absolute.
Okay, so I have got
Branded up
the branded up and the cock hood cap. What it is a cockerel, isn't it? Yep.
Yes.
It is cockerel. Yeah.
Cockerel with a cock on the top left. Yep.
Yeah.
COCK. That's what I just clarifying. The word, not the thing. Yeah. Honestly, thank you so much for listening to Money Talks on Freedom Impact Trust. This episode is going to grow. Please share it with your friends. Comment, leave some questions wherever you hear us. And this is going to grow. We're excited about this. Sorry it's been a bit longer podcast today, but we were excited. We talked about it.
Well, let us know if you want us to talk about anything as well, so we can get them things on. Any questions, we can ask the expert as well.
And I think we should get some branded caps.
Sold.
I will find the stockist. I will make it happen.
Can't take you seriously.
Can't take me seriously with this one. On that note, I'm
right.
closing the clapper. I'm out. Wait, let's show us to get the caps. What's that one? Bull?
It's the quality of them. They're actually fantastic.
Bull and bear. Why have I got the cockerel? Wait, did you buy this one just for me?
I bought that just for you because you didn't wear a branded top last time.
Well, that's such a good idea, Wes, for doing what the market does, bull, bear, or I've messed up.
So how we're feeling this week? We had CPI out on Tuesday, and everything fell. So pop that on because it was a bit bearish.
This is great.
On Wednesday, but then most things recovered. So I pop that on back on.
So there we go.
Feel good about things. Yeah.
Guys, what do you think about the caps? I love them.
They're on.
Like I tied him in grey hairs a lot younger, actually. I'll leave it on.
It'd take more than that to hide mine.
They're great. Love them.
Yeah, Wes.